You had Rachel Zegler on the docket, too. I think actresses should be quiet. I understand
She's
why.
such an asshole.
You know, but...
Is she the one that's on the cover of Cosmo with the cover story authored by Jack Antonoff?
I don't know. I
Is
just
that
know
the
of her
same girl?
stupid statements in the news.
Let me look this up.
Yeah, I think actresses should be quiet. And
This has been such a catastrophic nightmare for Disney that Disney has decided to cancel the premieres of Snow White.
The rumors are hotter than a dragon's breath. Everyone is asking, did Gal Gadot just throw Rachel Zegler under the bus for this movie's massive PR disaster? Or is all of this controversy nothing more than a storm in a teacup?
Rachel Zegler, who stars as Snow White, condemned Prince Charming as weird and a stalker, adding that she hates the original. Nice start. Leaked photos from the set revealed that the 7 dwarves had been sensationally axed, replaced by multiracial, gender non-specific, magical humans.
Whether you love the drama or hate it, there's no denying that this live-action adaptation has become one of Disney's most talked about and most contentious projects in recent memory. But wait, it gets even juicier. Have you heard about Rachel Zegler's take on Prince Charming? Apparently, she called him a stalker, branding the original 1937 animated classic outdated and backward.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming
So
about
she's gonna die.
true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Doesn't that sound like a surefire way to rile up longtime Disney fans? Some folks are saying Zegler's comments gave the film a bad name before anyone even saw a single scene, while others argue it was time to modernize an 80-year-old fairy tale. Which side of the argument do you fall on?
Here's the thing. For those of you who have forgotten, right now, it's just, yes, this is... So people are upset and people are not looking to watch this film, Snow White, because they're passionate. And she's thrilled to be a part of something, and she's just doing her best.
If you're tired of hearing woke Hollywood every time you scroll through social media, buckle up, because this story is only getting started. And now, brace yourselves for the biggest twist. The dwarfs aren't even dwarfs anymore. That's right, Disney's decision to replace the 7 dwarfs with CGI-created magical creatures has drawn more criticism than a poorly executed magic spell. Fans are fuming, claiming the studio is erasing a major part of what made the original so iconic. But you have to wonder, are these changes more disrespectful than the stereotypes the film was trying to avoid, or is Disney simply stuck in a lose-lose situation? Whichever angle you take, the results have been explosive. Some say it's progressive, others say it's insulting, and the online debates have gotten so heated you could roast marshmallows on your phone screen. Is Gal Gadot quietly distancing herself from Rachel Zegler's remarks? While Zegler's statements about the stalker prince and her hatred for the original Snow White drew countless eye rolls, Gadot seemed to take a completely different route. She's praised the classic, respected its legacy, and dodged direct references to her co-star's criticisms. Could this be a smart PR move to keep her reputation intact? Or is she subtly calling out Zegler's comments without saying a word?
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
You know, what's really interesting about this is not that this is something new. Rachel Zegler has been doing this for a very long time.
Fans on social media are reading between the lines, analyzing every interview clip, and coming away with all sorts of theories. Are we reading too much into it, or is the tension truly there? Did you notice how Disney canceled the traditional red carpet premiere? That's right, no grand Hollywood Boulevard rollout, no big flashy event with cameras snapping away. Insiders say Disney execs are terrified of more controversies erupting in real time.
We had Rachel Zegler on the docket. She's an asshole. That's number one.
What if Rachel Zegler, who has become a magnet for media uproar, dropped another viral comment under bright stage lights? Some claim Disney wants to stifle the PR meltdown by keeping her away from open mics. But could this backfire even more if fans see it as Disney throwing Zegler into the lion's den with no real support? Is the House of Mouse about to face an even bigger disaster? Or are they preventing a fire by not lighting the match in the first place?
And it's really mean to put her next to Gal Gadot, who's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So,
it's not fair. We argued about that.
Have you been following Rachel Zegler's political remarks? She hasn't been shy about taking a stance on Donald Trump, or sharing her opinions on progressive reforms. While some fans applaud her passion, others see it as a reason to boycott. As for Gal Gadot, her own history as an Israeli actress and former soldier stands in stark contrast to Zegler's vocal support for Palestinian causes. Neither actress has openly confronted the other's viewpoints, but fans definitely notice the eerie silence between them. Could this underlying political tension be contributing to the awkward dynamic? Or is it just fans looking for drama where none exists? In the midst of all of this, you might wonder, where does Peter Dinklage fit into the equation? Funny you should ask. Dinklage blew the conversation wide open by calling Disney out for hypocrisy in championing a Latina actress for Snow White while still telling a backward story about dwarfs living in a cave. His harsh words led the studio to clarify its stance, insisting the 7 dwarfs were being replaced to avoid offensive stereotypes. But critics fired back, pointing out that eliminating dwarf roles entirely only robs actors with dwarfism of potential job opportunities. Did Disney's attempt at damage control just backfire, or was Dinklage's criticism missing the mark? Everyone seems to have an opinion, and social media is still on fire over it. Will this movie even be profitable? The rumor mill claims Disney insiders are losing sleep over the possibility of a box office flop. Early audience reactions are tepid, and that's putting it mildly, with calls to boycott, negative social media buzz, and mainstream coverage of the controversy. Some experts predict the film's reception will be devastating. Are we looking at another John Carter-level fiasco, or might Gal Gadot's global star power salvage a few million at the box office? It's all up in the air at this point, and you can practically see the Disney marketing team scrambling for a solution. And if you think all this talk about changes to the story or modern ideals is just noise, well, think again. Is Disney about to face a much deeper fan rebellion? A lot of people are pointing to this fiasco as a symbol of their frustration with Disney's recent track record of live-action remakes. The Lion King, Mulan, Pinocchio, and now Snow White. Fans wonder if the creative spark is gone and replaced by checklists of modern updates. Are we witnessing the end of the era where Disney remakes were practically guaranteed box office gold? Or is this just one unfortunate project overshadowed by controversies? Which side do you believe? Maybe you're still curious enough to buy a ticket. Or perhaps you'd rather watch paint dry than see a beloved classic retooled yet again. But let's not forget the personal element in all this. How does Rachel Zegler really feel about the backlash? Some say she brought it on herself with her remarks, especially when she told critics to unfollow if they didn't like her takes. Others point out she's only 20-something, a newcomer to the Hollywood machine, and might not have realized how every word can be magnified on the internet. Should she be allowed to express her opinions freely, or should she tread more carefully given her role in such a classic property? The debate rages on, and the star herself has stayed silent in recent weeks, perhaps learning the hard way that every statement can become fresh fodder for the rumor mill. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot is the epitome of calm. Has she mastered the art of gracefully stepping away from controversy? Whether you admire her strategy or find it too careful, there's no denying she's handled herself differently. While Zegler took aim at the original film, Gadot has consistently called it an honor to partake in its legacy. She even spoke about the fans' passionate reactions, framing it as a testament to the story's lasting impact. Some watchers interpret this as shade toward Zegler, as if Gadot is subtly saying, respect what came before. Are we overanalyzing harmless remarks, or could this be a stealthy PR masterclass in not sinking the ship? Only time will tell, but the differences in their approaches stand out like a glass slipper at a sneaker convention. What about the internal drama at Disney? Executives were reportedly blindsided by the ferocity of the backlash. According to rumor, many believed the casting of a Latina actress would be universally applauded, not realizing how deeply fans treasure the original aesthetic. Add in the removal of the dwarfs and the barrage of comments from Zegler, and you've got a recipe for PR nightmares. Now, some insiders say the entire approach to live-action remakes might be on the chopping block. Are we on the brink of seeing Disney scale back on its tradition of reimagining animated classics, or is that just wishful thinking from fans who hate change? That's not all. Did you catch the quiet rescheduling of promotional activities? Instead of pairing Gal Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler for joint interviews, Disney appears to be sending them out separately, if at all. Observers are speculating that the studio wants to avoid any off-the-cuff remarks from Zegler while giving Gadot more free rein. But that only increases the chatter that these two stars are deliberately being kept apart. Could it be that Disney is worried the slightest slip-up will spark another internet firestorm? Or are they just trying to maximize coverage by splitting the leads? In the rumorverse, everything has a hidden agenda. Is the backlash truly about the modernization, or is it simply that fans feel disrespected? So many grew up loving Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. From the whimsical dwarfs to the iconic storyline of a princess seeking true love. Hearing that the lead actress hated the original can feel like a personal jab to devoted Disney aficionados. Then again, some folks think it's time for stories to evolve, especially if we're going to watch them in 2024 and beyond. Is there a way to modernize a classic without burning bridges, or was this meltdown inevitable from day one? Curiously enough, why is no one mentioning the actual storyline or the new script? So far, we've gotten bits and pieces about Snow White becoming a strong leader who doesn't need saving, but beyond that, details remain scarce. Perhaps Disney was hoping to keep everything under wraps until release day, letting the marketing machine hype up a modern twist. Now, though, the secrecy feels overshadowed by the never-ending wave of social media drama. Could the movie itself actually be pretty good, buried beneath all this scandal? We might never find out if everyone's already decided to boycott. Let's not forget the fans caught in the middle. Are loyal Disney lovers simply exhausted? With each new remake, the discourse seems to grow more polarized. Where once people celebrated the chance to see beloved classics brought to life, now they're bracing for changes that might overshadow the magic. Controversy with Mulan was intense, with historical and cultural critics weighing in. The Little Mermaid faced its own firestorm around casting, and now Snow White is stirring a pot that's swirling with identity politics, respect for originals, and the power of an outspoken actor. Is this the new normal, or could the next Disney remake return to simpler, less volatile times? Maybe that's wishful thinking. With so many angles in play, what does this mean for Gal Gadot's performance? She's set to appear as the evil queen, a role that stands out even in the beloved animated film. Her star power alone has drawn people to watch lesser-known projects, but can she do the same for a controversial one? Everyone is waiting to see if her commanding screen presence will overshadow the behind-the-scenes drama, or if the negativity will cast a shadow on her portrayal. Could Gadot's evil queen become the highlight that redeems the movie, or will the entire project sink under the weight of scandal? Tension is thick enough to cut with a mirror on the wall. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler's supporters are urging the public not to judge her so harshly. They point out her youth, her sincerity, and her right to have opinions. Critics, though, are rolling their eyes, arguing she bit the hand that fed her by tearing apart the movie that put her in the spotlight. Is it fair to demand absolute reverence for a classic? Or can an actress criticize the role she's playing if she genuinely believes it's flawed? This question could apply to many classic stories, but it's especially spicy with Snow White, the film that launched Walt Disney's empire. And the drama isn't just about one actress. Could the controversy hint at a larger shift in Hollywood's relationship with legacy films? As new generations grow up with different values and perspectives, it's inevitable that some older narratives might clash with modern sensibilities. But the real question is how to adapt them in ways that resonate without alienating longtime fans. Are we seeing a transitional stage that will ultimately lead to better storytelling? Or are we dangerously rewriting classics to the point of losing their essence? Does Disney owe it to fans to preserve tradition, or do they have a responsibility to evolve? Debates like these have existed for years, but rarely have they erupted so publicly. The ultimate cliffhanger, though, is, how will this saga end? With the release date creeping closer, Disney's got a ticking time bomb on its hands. If the film does poorly, the narrative could become go woke, go broke, fueling an even larger culture war. If it unexpectedly succeeds, critics might be forced to reconsider their boycott stance. And let's be honest, sometimes controversies create curiosity. Could the scandal ironically make more people watch, or is the negative PR too overwhelming for any silver lining? Movie history has seen bigger comebacks, but the question stands. Can Snow White come out of this as a triumph, or will it take its place among Hollywood's biggest flops? In the end, perhaps we should all ask ourselves, Are we so busy dissecting every public statement that we've forgotten the magic of a good fairy tale? Yes, it's 2025 or nearly, and times have changed, but there's still room for old-school enchantment, isn't there? Zegler's reimagined Snow White can capture hearts. Maybe all this drama fades into the background. If it fails, the wreckage could be studied in film schools for years as a lesson in how not to remake a beloved classic. Which outcome do you think is most likely, and does the public's reaction actually determine the final result? It might be a paradox, but all this fuss could lead to the film's success, or doom it entirely. So, do you think Gal Gadot's subtle distancing is her way of keeping her brand pristine, or is it a genuine stance that diverges from Zegler's viewpoint? Has Disney pushed its audience too far, or are fans simply overreacting to a harmless update? One thing's for sure, as the days go by, the chatter is only getting louder. Which rumor have you heard most often? That the movie is dead on arrival, or that it could still become a breakout hit, drama and all? With calls for boycotts on one side and pledges of support on the other, it feels like everyone's watching to see how this standoff plays out. Conversation might be messy, but it's undeniably riveting. Through all, we haven't seen a Disney remake land in such hot water before its release in quite some time. Whether you're Team Zegler, Team Gadot, or Team Enough Already, you can't deny it's become a cultural flashpoint, and maybe that's the biggest takeaway. These old stories still matter enough to spark debate. Will that passion translate into tickets sold, or will it fizzle out in a cloud of social media cynicism? As the countdown to opening day continues, the tension is palpable, and every new rumor adds another layer of intrigue. So, what's your final verdict? Are you planning to watch out of sheer curiosity, or is this entire situation a deal-breaker for you? Disney might be praying that curiosity wins out, while critics are sharpening their pens for a potential takedown. One way or another, Snow White is making history for all the wrong, or perhaps right reasons. It might not be the fairy tale ending the studio hoped for, but it's certainly a plot twist nobody anticipated. Will Rachel Zegler find redemption? And will Gal Gadot prove the evil queen can overshadow the negativity? Clock is ticking, the dwarfs are missing, and the prince is apparently a stalker. Love it or hate it, you can't look away. And that, my friends, might be the most captivating magic trick of all. And that's a wrap on today's star-studded scoop. If you need your next fix of Hollywood buzz, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon with more